The courtroom was silent until a single echo shattered the air. A sharp slap landing on the cheek of a black woman named Amara, who stood alone before a wall of uniforms and cold eyes. In that moment, everyone expected her to fall, to shrink, to obey, but something dangerous awakened inside her. A strength fueled by every injustice she had endured outside those doors. The officers thought they could silence her pain, yet all they did was spark a fire that began spreading through her veins like lightning. As the crowd watched in stunned disbelief, Amara's gaze lifted, steady and unbroken. And the room felt a shift she did not speak, but everyone sensed. Her heartbeat roared, fearless, and with every second, she realized she had nothing left to lose. When she stepped forward, no one could predict that the woman they struck down would soon rise to the most powerful seat in that room. Not by permission, but by fate. Amara had come to the courthouse seeking justice for her brother, a young man wrongfully arrested and silenced by a system designed to crush people like them. She had spent days gathering papers, nights memorizing every detail, believing truth would finally speak for him. But the moment she entered, she was met with sneers, whispers, and eyes that viewed her not as a grieving sister, but as a problem that needed restraining. Still, she stood tall, her voice steady as she tried to explain what happened. Yet each word was drowned beneath accusations and disrespect from those meant to protect the innocent. When an officer shoved her, telling her to sit and be quiet, she refused because silence had already cost her too much. One slap later, the world shifted, not only around her but within her, and the courtroom became a battlefield where she would not surrender. She looked beyond anger, past humiliation, and toward something larger, the belief that justice must be seized when denied. The slap echoed, and every eye fixed on Amara as she stood motionless. Not broken, but strangely calm, like a storm that had chosen silence over thunder. The officer who struck her stepped back with surprise, expecting fear. Yet Amara's steady stare made his arrogance tremble. She raised her hand, not to strike, but to show the room the truth that violence could not silence dignity. In that moment, the judge demanded order, pounding his gavel. But his voice shook because what he faced was something the court had never prepared for. Amara spoke, her tone firm, describing the night her brother was taken, dragged from their home without reason, accused of crimes he never touched, and locked away where his voice could not reach the world. The judge interrupted, dismissing her words as emotional, but the audience listened because her pain carried a truth sharper than any legal document. Her brother had begged for help, his calls ignored, his case buried beneath false reports. Amara discovered officers had altered evidence, twisting stories, leaving him defenseless against a system built to crush the powerless. She demanded accountability, yet every attempt was blocked until she stood there, facing the very people who destroyed her family. The judge ordered guards to remove her, but the crowd murmured with outrage, sensing the corruption dripping through every word spoken against her. The officer moved toward her again, yet before he reached her, a lawyer stood up, alleging that the woman had no right to speak. Amara did not step back. Instead, she walked past him, toward the judge's bench, her steps slow yet certain. The judge rose, voice rising with anger, but underneath it was fear because he knew her story was true, and truth was something he could not control. Amara reached the bench, and for the first time, her voice fell into silence, not from fear but from power. She sat, not as a criminal, but as someone claiming the place meant to serve justice. The courtroom froze, shocked as she stared directly at the judge, no longer pleading but demanding the truth be heard. Her presence made the judge stumble, his authority draining as her courage filled the room. The officers hesitated, unsure whether to pull her away or obey the trembling judge. Amara spoke of every lie told, every signature forced, every life destroyed, and with each word, the audience felt the weight of her truth. She vowed she would not move until her brother's name was cleared, and nothing in that room could overcome her conviction. Silence stretched as the judge, shaken, finally ordered an immediate review of her brother's case, exposing the hidden files that proved his innocence and the officer's betrayal. The courtroom erupted with gasps as the truth unfolded, and those once certain of their power now faced consequences they never imagined. Amara stepped from the judge's seat only when justice stood beside her, her brother released, and their names restored. The officers who struck her were taken away, not as protectors but as criminals, their badges no longer able to shield their lies. As she walked out, the same doors that once tried to confine her now opened in respect, and everyone who witnessed her strength understood that true power does not come from titles or uniforms but from courage unshaken by fear. Her story remained etched in every mind, a reminder that even when the system fails, the voice of truth can take the highest seat and change everything.